Right, so we are going to take a look at the team round. You can if you want, I'm sorry. So we're going to take a look at the team round of the 2006 state competition, and I'm going to do it in two problem increments, 1 and 2 first. Here we go. Now the first problem isn't too bad. The end of each blade of the ceiling fan is given is 2 feet from the center of the fan and makes 3 full rotations per second. Given that there are 5,280 feet in a mile, being a Denver resident, we should all know that. What is the speed in miles per hour at the end of each blade? Express your answer as a decimal to the nearest tenth. Well, this one is clearly going to ask us to find the circumference of the rotation of the fan, and we know that circumference is equal to pi times diameter, and the diameter in this case is 4 because the radius is 2. So we know that the circumference is equal to 4 times pi, which is 12.56. Now that is in so that is just feet per rotation. And we know we do 3 rotations in 1 second. So in 1 second, we have done 37.68 feet. That is pretty quick. So then, there are 60 seconds in a minute. So we're doing 2,260.8 feet in a minute, and there are 60 minutes in an hour. So it's 135,648 feet per hour, but we want miles per hour, and so we need to divide this by 5280, and so we get 25.69, rounded to the nearest tenth is going to be 25.7. Alright, let's take a look at number 2. So for number 2, A, B, C, D, and E are the decimal representations of 0 point ABC and 0 point DE. Now, we are going to want this to be the larger of the two numbers, and we're trying to find the smallest difference between the two numbers rounded to the nearest thousandth. And we're allowed to use 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Anya, can you turn the fan off, please? So we want this to be the larger of the two numbers so that when we subtract this C from nothing here, we're going to have to borrow, creating a smaller number. So right now we know that point DE is going to be subtracted by A, B, C. And remember what I was saying about trying to make us borrow here? In order for us to borrow as much as possible, we really need B and C to be as large as possible. So therefore, we know that B is going to have to equal 5, because that's going to make us borrow the most over here. And we know C is going to be equal to 4. So, when I look at D and A, in order for me to have the smallest possible difference, I need to have two numbers that are that have a difference of 1. So, I've already used 5 and 4. What other two numbers are only 1 apart? Well, 2 and 3. So we know that D has to be larger than A. So we know that D has to equal 3 and A has to equal 2. Therefore, E must equal 1. So therefore, we have 0.31 minus 0.254, and we can go ahead and use our calculator here. 0.31 anytime now, minus 0.254, and there's my answer, 0.056. And again, the trick on this problem was to realize that DE has to be larger than ABC in order to borrow out of DE to deal with that C value here. And then to borrow, we wanted to borrow as much as possible from D and E, which made B and C the largest possible number I could make. That would make B 5, C 4, and then we knew D had to be 1 larger than A, so my only real opportunity to do that would be with D as 3 and A as 2. And then E has to be 1. Alright,